Some of them. The important part is that it works again. Oh, that was a close one. Oh, boy. Okay, we're ready to go. 3, 2, 1, all the rest of that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Church of Chonkwij Podcast. Happy fucking New Year. I am Xena, Warrior Squintess? Yeah, that. And I'm joined tonight by Alvin and the Squid Monks, OmegaConstruct, and Pun Lord Mesquitme. And it's great. Happy 2023. How's everybody been? The last time we did this was before Chrysler. Merry Chrysler.
Be crisis.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, and things have happened.
It's been a while.
Things have happened. Things have happened, and there's stuff, too. I don't recommend any of it. But yeah, it's nice to be back. We, actually, Omega and I have been playing games together for the past couple of nights.
It's been real janky.
It has been. So he got me Stranded Deep for Christmas, and Stranded Deep has multiplayer in it, so we're cross-playing. You're playing it on Epic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you're on Epic and I'm on Steam, and we discovered last night that there's really no point in trying to make a public session, or trying to make a private session and share an invite code, because that's just fucking ghetto as shit. I don't know how they set that up. So Omega's just been...
It doesn't work.
Yeah, Omega's just been setting the game to public, and then I'm joining him as fast as I can spot it. And that worked for a while. And then a few disconnects later, I think, yeah, that's where we left it off, huh? We're gonna have to figure out whether or not we can even get in the same game again, because I got DC'd when we arrived on a new island. You built a shelter, saved the game, and, I'm trying to come back in, but it kept on giving me a timeout _ something or other. I don't remember. It was a weird error code. Anyway, when it works, it's a pretty entertaining game, especially multiplayer. Because I am absolutely fucking terrified of the ocean, but Omega is not. So, yeah, I can do stuff on land, he can go kill sharks with pointy sticks.
You could do that in that game?
I mean, that's basically what the game is. It's trying not to die to mainly sharks. Sharks and poisonous things are the biggest threats.
So we've both gotten, just bushwhacked out of nowhere from a shark that we couldn't see. And we just sort of ragdolled. I ragdolled in the ocean. I was much closer to land than you were. But, yeah, it happened to both of us. You got poisoned once, but that was negated because we reloaded a save, and I've been poisoned twice, and the second time I got poisoned, my health got so low that I was killed by a tiny little crab on the shore, and I just ragdolled, while Omega had to listen to the beeping of my watch informing me that I was dead. Doesn't that just make sense? If you have a life alert bracelet, and it notifies you that you're dead. Danger!
Seems to defeat the point of a life alert, but, you know.
So there are some things in this game that could probably still be worked over, and their netcode is, yeah, it's a little sketchy.
It's one of the age-old cases of a really cool and interesting game made by developers that aren't that great, but we'll never get this game made by a great developer because this game will never make $1 billion.
Yeah,
so,
I don't see a good solid way to monetize Stranded Deep, unless you can figure out how to add a battle royale thing with with rafts.
Yeah, the closest thing to that would be what was it, Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
They monetized the shit out of that game.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
Yeah.
But
So
in this game,
that's the type of game that you would get. That's the only way to have a game on the ocean. Like you gotta just fucking nickel and dime them somehow.
anybody remember Waterworld with Kevin Costner?
Yes.
Yeah, this game could be that.
For some reason, every time you start saying water, I've got there's like a 50-50 shot in my mind that you're going to end it with sports instead of something else.
Water sports.
Mm-hmm.
I just made one
Mommy's a
joke the other
pervert.
day. I just made one joke, and now you just can't get it off your head.
Uh-huh.
So, Omega, who are you peeing? I mean, what are you playing?
I'm currently playing Cult of the Lamb. I have an adorable little cult.
What the hell is this game about?
I'm a cult leader.
It was
I know
very
Cousin
popular.
wants it.
Yeah, it was very popular over December. If Relegator wanted it, you wanted it. A lot of people wanted it. Is it by Devolver Digital?
That sounds right. I don't know.
They are. That's a crazy development company that I'm a fan of. If it is Devolver Digital, then they also did Spiritfarer, which was a beautiful game that I couldn't finish. It was such a good game.
Declare a new doctrine for my cult.
Henceforth, pants shall be punishable by spankings.
Let's see, should it be about food,
That's-
the afterlife, work and worship, or law and order?
Also, because I heard Masami start to say it, failure to wear pants will be rewarded with spankings. So that should cover everybody.
Okay, I was gonna say if spankings were gonna be a punishment for wearing pants, I don't think that's quite the discouragement you think it is.
No, I understand. Yeah, you gotta work around the whole things here. Industrious versus faithful.
Definitely industrious.
Increase work speed by 15%. That's a lot of percent. You will labor in the name of your lord.
OmegaConstruct.
Actually, have you named your cult? Does your cult have a name?
Yes. We are Omega's constructs.
Oh.
And I need to build a shitter. And to build a shitter, I need to make some wooden boards.
I don't know if there's a character limit to your cult name.
No, but what's funny is if you stream that on Twitch, there's a plugin where people in your chat, the names of the people in your chat are actually the names of people in your cult.
Yeah, I saw some people playing with that. That's pretty neat.
That is a neat idea.
Like, your viewers will actually create. Would you indoctrinate a new cult member? I can actually show you real quick. I'm gonna purchase this person here.
It's okay.
So now I have a new follower to indoctrinate. And now I can make him look however I want. And the Twitch integration actually, it randomly selects one of your viewers, and they can then customize whichever form and type they want. Pretty neat.
That is pretty cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate viewer interaction.
Be a fish. He's a fish.
Fish person.
He's so happy. If you could rename him, you should have renamed him Doot 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 Doot.
Too late.
See what you did there. That song is what brought on the apocalypse of 2020.
It may actually be a dark incantation which summons a plague. That is entirely possible.
All right.
So Zero, you still playing R6 Extraction?
Traction. Yep, and trying to level up this operator.
Is he
Sweet.
smooth?
His name is Echo, and he is very smooth.
So he's a smooth operator.
I knew she was going for the joke. That's why I fed into it.
I just fed somebody poop. Because
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Because somebody else asked me to feed them poop as a prank. Yeah, they enjoyed my prank.
Mama.
There he is.
It's got to be stuck in my head for the whole night. So might as well start off.
Duh.
So there's a bunch to talk about. Some of these we can shoot through real fucking fast because actually, one of these articles is just gonna be us ragging on Elon Musk again. Remember that guy? He still exists, and he's been up to some hilarious shit. More on that later. But for the meantime, Wizards of the Coast has reportedly canceled at least 5 video games, and there are also some there were some leaks regarding new game licensing or intellectual property licensing for D&D 1, aka D&D 6th edition. So, I am not the expert here. Masami and Omega are the D&D experts of the group, probably Zero too. So yeah, what order does the canceling of the video games tie into the new licensing, or are these separate topics?
The video games thing is like, that's just disappointing. Separate topic.
Yeah, okay, so
There-
reporting to
there-
cancel at
Yeah,
least
there
5
are
video
multiple
games.
fuckeries going on right now around Wizards of the Coast and D&D. And the two things are that they're basically canceling a whole swath of their video games that they had in the pipeline. And the other thing is drastic change to the third-party content licensing surrounding D&D and related third-party ventures.
Yes. So in terms of the video games that got canceled, let's see. Other Side and Hidden Path are the 2 game companies that were developing official Dungeons & Dragons video games for Wizards of the Coast. And it appears now, according to a source inside Bloomberg or a source quoted by Bloomberg, and who was it? A communications officer?
PR person.
A spokesperson from Wizards of the Coast. According to these 2 sources, the games that these studios are developing are just off. Wizards of the Coast, of course, says fewer than 15 people will lose their jobs over this, but that's Wizards of the Coast proper. That has nothing to do with these studios who had people assigned to creating these games. So the economic fallout of this, people losing their jobs, is obviously not contained to fewer than 15 people. There's no real explanation as to why this is happening, but at least these 2 studios are confirmed stopping. There are 3 other studios that are sort of in limbo right now. Nobody really knows yes or no, and Wizards of the Coast is not being forthright.
And what were the 2 that you said were confirmed killed? The 2 studios?
One of them is called Other Side, and the other one is Hidden Path.
Yeah, Hidden Path. I read something really interesting today. Apparently, when this was announced, Hidden Path, on their Twitter page, they went out and were like, hey guys, we just want to clear up any confusion. We're still working on the D&D game, and in fact, we're hiring for new positions right now. Check out our jobs page. And then the journalist who wrote that article replied to him and were like, Yeah, I really hate to do this and say this, but like that's not true. I've just confirmed it with both my source and the Wizards of the Coast PR team. The game has been canceled. So,
Right. The reporter for Bloomberg, his name is Jason Schreier, I think.
Schreier probably.
Schreier. And yeah, his tweet was, "This is very unusual and very unfortunate situation, but we stand by our reporting." Both the source and Wizards of the Coast spokesperson told Bloomberg on Tuesday that Hidden Path's D&D game is canceled, and that was in reply to what you said.
It's really interesting that this is playing out in
just the failure of
Twitter.
Communication here. So that is this is not great news for anybody who enjoys D&D digital games, or video games rather. But
they've never really had a good one though.
They haven't. That's why
Baldur's
this was so excited, is because there's so many studios.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate is the D&D franchise that has been good. A lot of the other ones, yes, have been terrible. A lot of the games that are like have D&D in the title, yes, have been bad. But Baldur's Gate is a D&D game. And that has always been their flagship.
Well, if you want my hot take on this, and it kind of merges into the OGL changes, it's really all about money. Someone basically looked and went, wow, D&D has a horrible track record producing good video games. Let's just fucking do away with it and not bother to actually spend any more money on it. This is an investment decision, pure and simple.
Well, also, Hasbro's stocks are down like 40% this year.
Yep, they're cutting the fat. I will have more commentary once we get to the OGL discussion.
Nice. All right. So that's pretty much all that this article is pointing out. It's just that there is a failure to communicate between Wizards of the Coast and the companies that they contracted to make or gave licenses to make games for them, and we're not exactly sure exactly how many of these have exactly been canceled. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of chaos.
Slight chaos. And the other thing that drew a lot of attention this past week for D&D, specifically D&D 1, was, as Omega said, the new license that is coming out to replace, it's called what, the OGL, Open Gaming License?
Correct.
So there was the original OGL that was published back in, what, like 2001, 2002 or something, and the OGL is being updated for D&D 1. And for more on that, our D&D experts.
Yeah, you go ahead, Masami. You probably know more about this than I do.
Well,
I know enough to be dangerous, but most of my knowledge comes from TikTok.
that's fair. There's several decent people on D&D TikTok. I will give it that because I know them fairly personally. But I don't know who you follow, so I can't speak to whether or not the people that you talk to are full of shit or not. So the open gaming
Certainly
license,
full of shit.
yes,
It's TikTok.
I mean, yeah. So I think before I go off on a rant that may fly way above level, what do you guys know about the OGL? What do you know it is, what it does?
I know.
And then I'll springboard from there.
I'm the least knowledgeable person about this in the room. So I think that the OGL gives third parties the right to, or the ability to create and sell derivative works that are based on the game mechanics of D&D. Not necessarily to do with any, like, they can't like republish the player's handbook or write new stories about the Forgotten Realms universe or stuff like that. I don't know about any of that. I don't think they can do that. But if they want to use, say, D&D 5e's rules to create a campaign in a universe that they created with lore that they wrote, then they are able to do that and they are able to sell it. So that's what I think.
You're essentially correct. Your legal brain is as avid as ever. And you're exactly right. Since, and I don't even know if this was like I don't even know if this was present in back when TSR had D&D or if Wizards of the Coast. But when I started playing in about third edition, which is about the 2000-2001 era when that came out. I didn't start playing it that early, but I digress. But it really like started with there. It's the thing that lets people like create new classes and just other weird oddball shit. Like you go to dmsguild.com and you'll find a whole bunch of shit that people have created. And there's essentially a certain parts of the DM, or no, not the DMG, but well, kind of the DMG, but mostly the player's handbook and the monster manual that are basically like that people can use to derive their works off of. And the open gaming license basically feeds into that. It lets people make money on the shit they create, the worlds they create, etc., etc. The funny thing is that Pathfinder, one of the competing systems for D&D, is basically like when, so without getting into a lot of hoary history, basically Pathfinder exists because the OGL allowed those people to basically take parts of the system and go, hey, we can do something different with this. But still, when you break it down, when you break its bones down, it comes down to some of the bones of D&D 3.5, which they can use thanks to the OGL. So not only are they going to be, by restricting and doing whatever it is they're doing with 1.1 version, they're potentially trying to kill a competitor and then screw all the little guys along while they're doing it. That's my hot take.
So is this anything like, okay, so a game engine like Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something like Unity puts its engine out there so that people can buy developers' licenses and then they can use the Unity engine to create whatever games that they want to and sell those games? So is this like Unity all of a sudden saying that in addition to buying a developer's license and using our framework, if you use our framework, you also have to pay us like a percentage of your profits from whatever you create using our framework?
To be honest, I will be honest, I have not like deeply read into it, but I've caught patches of the discourse. I think it's not even a matter of that if you do something, you have to pay for it with this case. Like the Unity engine is actually like, or the game engine is actually not a bad analogy, except imagine a game engine that was put out there for free and people were just given certain restrictions what they could do with it. And then all of a sudden, game developer who makes the free game engine comes along and goes, they basically nerf the thing into the ground and go, you can only use this because what we let you use before let you make too much money off of our stuff. So it's not even that you can potentially pay Wizards money to be able to develop content like you used to. It's they're gonna fucking sue you and collect your ass in court fees and shit like that. From what I've heard, it sounds like they want to deter it all, deter a lot of the things that used to be in the old open gaming license in favor of trying to reduce the competition that everything else is going on around it.
So now if you want to, just going through this article, now if you want to sell derivative works based on this new OGL 1.1 they're calling it, you have to register with Wizards of the Coast. Like you have to declare your work with them, and any license work for sale. And then there's a legal or the rules lawyer that the YouTube video that Omega posted, what he was talking about in that was how the hell does this work? Oh, okay, you have to register your work with Wizards of the Coast before you sell it, or you go out and, you know, make money off of it. And if Wizards of the Coast decides to terminate your permission to do that at any time, you're obligated to destroy your work and never talk about or release it or anything ever again. I remember that coming up, and that things like that exist in contracts all over the place. They're just usually completely unenforceable. Unless somebody shows up a month later with the exact same thing and is like, hey, we're doing this. So this just looks weird to me. You have to register all the works. Like, if you're Masami, if you're going to create a new universe and you're going to create a new campaign around it and you're going to write it all down and you're going to make it available for people to buy, then you have to register with Wizards of the Coast and you have to declare, I guess, how much money you're making off that in a calendar year. Because there are revenue tiers here. There's initiate tier, which is $0 to $50,000, intermediate tier, which is $50,000 to $750,000, and expert tier, which is above $750,000. How the fuck are they going to know that unless you declare it?
So here's the thing. Most gamers are fucking poor.
Fenrir suddenly...
Sorry.
Fenrir...
No, it's true. Fenrir suddenly what? I want to know what the wolf did.
He started
Fenrir.
fucking everything.
Fenrir suddenly started fucking everything. I'm glad your mind went there. My mind went to spraying diarrhea all over the room.
I mean, okay, that's one way to go with it.
Dogs are
Slightly
really
disgusting, but
Have you ever seen a dog like like aerosol spray shit out their ass?
yes. Oh, yes. It is just, oh God.
I've been around dogs my whole life, and I've seen some grody shit, but I don't think I've ever seen a dog spray shit out their ass. I just brought it up because obviously the human anus and a canine anus have their anatomical differences to them, and yeah, spraying shit out your ass as a human being I find to be just very much easier than if I didn't have butt cheeks, but maybe that's just me.
So as I was saying,
So thank God you're
damn
back.
it.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to talk about poop some more. Who am I kidding? I want to.
So
Alright.
so as I was
So
saying,
what I
most
need from
gamers
you
are fucking poor.
is basically
Yes.
They are going to
Uh,
most people have realized that the
this isn't
corporations are getting
interest, this
petty
is
as
more like
shit
how much
and will go
you get.
after the little
This is
guy.
really about
So these
flexibility.
poor ass people who
So
are
what I
trying
need
to
are
like,
strength
make a
athletics
living off of a
from the
creative
both of you,
endeavor
and you two need to add your
are
bonus
going to
points.
stop doing that or are going to actually follow these asinine rules because they do not want to risk getting slapped with a lawsuit, cease and desist, other bullshit. Like, it's just it just feels like a scare tactic to me, to be honest. And especially, like, I don't know if they've confirmed that this is what the final version is going to be, or if this is still just a beta version of the OGL.
It feels scummy. It feels very
it's
scummy.
totally scummy. It's totally scummy.
What you say?
It's
actually,
Hasbro
Masami,
trying to cut all the competition out of the market so that Wizards producing the official content is the only one left, or the only ones that they approve of is left.
See, all right, here's a counter to that. When people are like making stuff and uploading it to DM's Guild, and they're getting a couple bucks here and there in tips and whatnot, that's all well and good, and that is part of the D&D community. But you brought up Pathfinder. That is an entire company that has built an entire product off the back of D&D that has never paid D&D a dime for that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And this isn't, it doesn't charge people royalties unless there's over $750,000 in revenue. So
Yes.
you're a person, selling cool homebrewed modules and homebrew classes on DM's Guild is not going to see that royalty. And if they do, then congratulations, you've made you've sold $750,000 worth of shit on DM's Guild. You can afford to pay a bit of royalties. Like, I think that this is there are things about this that are going to need to change and that are shitty, but I think overall, like, a company does have a right to protect its IP. And I mean, it's as if, you brought up game engines. It's as if Unity was like, hey, we've been doing this for a while and we can't do it for free anymore. Or, hey, we're not going to do it for free anymore. We think we deserve to be paid for this product that we put out and let you guys build upon. And for most of you who use it, it'll still be pretty much free. But for those of you who are actually creating companies and creating your own enterprises off of the back of this technology, we feel like, as an official, licensee, we feel, we're entitled to some royalties on that. And I think that's not entirely unreasonable.
Oh yeah, no, I don't entirely disagree. I just don't like how all the small people are going to get caught in the middle of this. So.
There's, I found the part of the article that is pertinent to what Omega just said. So the draft of OGL 1.1 says that if you make $750,001, you will owe Wizards of the Coast 25 cents, as they are only asking for royalties on the $1 made in excess of the expert tier. So literally, I guess, towards the end of this, you can make up to $750,000. You can keep all of that, but for every dollar over $750,000, you owe Wizards 25%, unless it's a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or some shit, in which case it's only 20%.
Yeah, Kickstarter is their preferred partner. So basically they're saying is, like, if you do a Kickstarter that makes over 750 grand, you're gonna owe them 20% on top of that. Or if your company makes revenue in excess of that in a year, it's 25%. So be prepared to see a whole lot of Kickstarters that are for $749,999.
Yep. They're
Yeah.
pretty much going after Kickstarter and all of those big projects that have been making a super duper ton of money.
And that's the thing. There are a lot of people who are making millions of dollars. Maybe not even a lot of people, but there is a not insignificant amount of people who are making millions and millions of dollars on Dungeons and Dragons. And I have a hard time begrudging Dungeons and Dragons for wanting that relationship to be like almost any other relationship when it comes to intellectual property and businesses. And, businesses do licensing deals all the time.
Okay, so just for the sake of argument, I feel I'm more or less in the same boat as you, Omega. But what I don't understand in this article is why the tier system then? Why not just say if you make more than $750,000? First of all, register with us. You have to declare your work. That's kind of weird, but I understand why that might be necessary to enforce the whole getting 25% over $750,000. But why is there an initiate tier, which is from $0 to $50,000? Why is there an intermediate tier from $50,000 to $750,000? Why isn't there just a not $750,000 raised versus more than $750,000 raised. I don't understand why they would do that.
Can't answer you that there. I haven't read really deep enough to speak on it.
And there's not, I don't think there's very terribly much in this article unless I missed something obvious. I don't think there's an explanation for why you need those tiers.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that either.
I'm sure Hasbro will provide us with an explanation. They're so transparent. Sorry.
Yeah, no, point well taken. This... Yeah, but that's the only thing that does not make sense to me is why would you have these tiers if you're only interested in people that make over $750,000? Unless you're... What are you, tracking growth? But you can do that without a tier. Why? You're separating these into departments? Are we not actually seeing tiers? We're seeing departments of people who are paying attention to things? Like, oh, over $50,000, it goes into the inbox of desk number 2. And the desk number 2's got to put up with that. I don't understand. But anyway, that is the question. Maybe we'll be hearing more of this, and maybe we'll discover an answer to that, or... yeah. But I wanted to ask, in terms of, Masami, you brought up Pathfinder, Omega, you also brought up Pathfinder. There are obviously large companies who have created third-party content that is based on the core of D&D and, other derivative works, essentially. My question was, does Critical Role come into this anywhere? The Matt Mercer campaigns on YouTube?
No.
Does this affect that at all?
No. They have their own direct licensing agreements with Dungeons & Dragons. They are officially sponsored by D&D Beyond, which is the official online toolkit of Dungeons & Dragons. Matt Mercer has written official books that have been released by Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons. They are not at all covered by this.
So they're not a third party. They are a part of the Wizards of the Coast.
Oh no, they are a third party who has their own private licensing agreement with its own specific terms with what they can and can't do. And whenever they are doing a new project, and whatever that context may be, they have a guy at Wizards that they can call up, or a gal, or who knows, that they could call up at Wizards of the Coast and have these conversations with and hammer out whatever license they're going to do for whatever project, because that's like the OGL is about what the little people do with D&D content. The OGL is not what happens when a major company comes and says, hey, we want to license D&D for something. That's effectively what Critical Role is in this space. Critical Role has their own licensing agreements, their own rep that they deal with. They're not... This is a one-size-fits-most license, and D&D and Critical Role is not most.
Gotcha.
Critical Role is the exception, not the rule.
Yep.
All right.
Now listen, here's the thing also, on that same token, if Paizo wants to come out and, have their lawyers and business reps hammer out a licensing agreement that is unique to them, Wizards would probably be at least willing to listen, or, they might not do it out of spite simply because they are tired of it or whatever reasons. But, point being, they could absolutely get their own licensing agreement if both sides agreed to it. Whether or not Wizards would be amenable to it, whether or not Paizo wants to do that, who knows? But that's how the business world works. And I think, if anything, what this is just an indication that D&D is moving out of the hobby space and is getting a little more mainstream official.
This is a formal corporate structure.
Yes, this is becoming a more mainstream official thing now, and that sucks in a lot of ways. No denying it, but part of that means it's not necessarily going to be the same Wild West freewheeling, people get away with a lot of shit with the IP that you're not going to let happen anymore.
I will at least appreciate this from a sort of a bookmark standpoint or a new chapter standpoint, because this is a very obvious shift in the change of a company, whereas you're just talking about, like small gamers, created this to play the game because they love the game, all the rest of that. I just thought immediately of Blizzard in the 90s, putting out Warcraft and then putting out Warcraft 2 and Tides of Darkness and Diablo 2, and there was sort of a quiet, prolonged shift from a small Blizzard studio into what has become Activision Blizzard, where it is corporate now. I believe there are still people in Blizzard who care about video games and love making video games, but it is a publicly traded company that, yeah, it is a formal corporate company or corporate structure now, and that was a little sneakier. And then all of a sudden, state of California launches 2 state lawsuits or 2 state investigations into the company, and all that came out about how employees were being treated horribly. And it was just like, whatever happened to the Blizzard that I worked with? This is sort of a very clear indicator of a turning point. So at least appreciate that. And the other thing that I want to say is in this article, it's mentioned, and you just mentioned it, Masami, Omega, what is Paizo? Anybody? I don't know what that is or who they are.
That's the company that makes Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Correct. It's actually made up of, it was originally founded when D&D went from version 3.5 to 4.0. Wizards got rid of a lot of the original staff, including a lot of the artists and a whole bunch of other people. And they were like, well, fuck it. We're going to go out and do our own thing. And that's where Pathfinder came from. And they've made a bunch of other stuff too, like Starfinder and a few other things.
Well, something that's really interesting. This is getting into some fun, weird D&D history. 4th edition was largely considered not hugely successful. And partly it's because they did the same thing then in a way that they're doing now, which is when they switched from 3.5 to 4, they introduced a new license. And it made it much harder for people to make third-party content, so 4th edition didn't catch on in the third-party content space of the community, which is something that has always kept the D&D community strong, and which has been a huge part of the success of 5th edition. But what they didn't do was change the OGL, which covered the previous generation 3.5 stuff, which is why Pathfinder was allowed to exist under the OGL, even though 4th edition had this new license, so people couldn't use 4th edition for third-party stuff. So what's interesting is now in the new OGL, they explicitly are invalidating the old OGL to prevent that from happening, which is what I think is the one thing that's most questionable here. Now, I don't think legally they're going to be able to say to Paizo, you're not allowed to sell your product anymore because we're just not licensing it under those terms anymore. What I think is going to happen is that the new OGL is going to cover D&D 1. It's not going to retroactively cover. What it's going to say is that by nullifying, rescinding the old OGL, they're saying nothing new can be made under the old OGL. It's not saying anything made previously under the old GL is now illegal.
Rules in that video.
as a matter of contract law, I don't know if you can just do that.
Yeah, so in the rules lawyer video that you posted in Cox, the guy gets into that. The word to use here is enforceable. How enforceable is that in a legal sense? If that were to go to court, I mean, if I assume that if OGL 1.1 declared something like that, then Pathfinder, Pazan, whatever, would go to court and they would challenge that. I'm not sure how enforceable that is either, because I don't know a hell of a lot about contract law. I just know what a shitty contract looks like when I read it. And yeah, obviously OGL 1.1 is not out yet. People are not, as far as I know, it has not been released. People are not reading it. All of this has come from a leak of a partial legal document that was put up on IO9's blog, I think, was the gentleman who posted it, person who posted it. So yeah, I'm not certain either, and I don't think. I mean, certainly companies in their licensing agreements can declare things retroactively, but usually that has to be. Does that have to be from the start? See, again, I don't know. I'm hitting a wall here because I don't know a lot about contractual law.
So what makes this kind of funny is if you look at and this is what I've seen a lot of speech about, and what a lot of the creators on D&D TikTok have said, is that, hey, we're in the D&D Discord and they have put out rules saying if you are speaking about the leak of OGL 1.1 and it is false, you are breaking the rules against this and therefore you will be banned. If you are speaking about OGL 1.1 and it is in fact true, then you are speaking about a leak of a legal document, therefore you will be banned.
Yeah,
And
the Catch-22 thing. Yeah, sure.
yeah, and everybody in the server is like, so we're just not allowed to talk about this at all in the server? Okay, we'll just create, or we're part of other servers that we'll just talk about it anyway off your
Yeah.
server. So
Yeah.
it's when WotC comes out and says, hey, you can't talk about this, and then says, hey, if you talk about this, we're going to ban you anyway.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking to myself, I am waiting for the day when Discord charges money to host a server or anything like that. The slow monetization of Discord that has been creeping forward from year to year. I was just thinking about that. Maybe it'll never happen. Maybe it will. All I know is that we have a gilded server that is set up and ready to go.
That's true.
Oh, man. So, yeah, all right. Does that cover... Were we talking about anything else with regards to OGL? Oh, do you guys want to get into anything slightly, ostensibly positive about D&D 1, the changes to game mechanics? Anything on that, or we can save that for next time if we want to look at articles, or you guys want to look into that more if you're interested in it.
Some of the mechanics that have been brought out are pretty good improvements to some of the systems. Like they fixed the broken totem barbarian. From what I saw, there was talk about it being fixed. I don't know exactly what the fix was, but they said that bear is no longer 100% immune or like resistant to all forms of damage. And that was an issue that I experienced because it was just Vodak was so fucking powerful that, as Masami and I discussed, I kind of created the perfect race class combination
For combat.
For
like
combat.
for staying alive and getting the shit beat out of you to little to no effect.
Yeah. I created the perfect tank.
Damn. I made a joke
So-
yesterday about how Barry, out of combat, just for the RP part of D&D, Barry's fucking broke. But I love it.
Yeah. I'm
And
sorry.
Masami
I didn't mean
hasn't.
to break him.
Masami hasn't. Oh no, not like that. Yeah, okay. So for anybody listening to this later who has no idea what we're talking about, Zero killed both my skeletons yesterday. I'm a little cheesed about that. Still a little cheesed about that. But that's not what I was talking about. I just mean for like Barry's rolls yesterday. Did Barry get lower than a 15 all day yesterday?
Maybe once.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you let me use them and all the rest of that. But yeah, there are instances of certain things in D&D that if you really want to stack, I guess if you really want to specialize, you can maybe do a little bit of breaking, soft breaking. But that is interesting. All right, Bear Totem. Bear Totem got some work. And Omega mentioned something the other day of a spell that was a reaction. Was it guidance that was a reaction instead of an action in D&D 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed it up. Just made it a reaction, which is pretty neat. I mean, they've done basically so far. What they've released is everything from small changes like that rule, like that spell, all the way through to entire new classes, new versions of classes that you can supposedly playtest by just slotting them into your current 5e campaign. Like, there's an entire new version of entire classes, and what they want us to do for playtesting is go look at them, build our character in that, and just play it and see how it works. So that's the degree of backwards compatibility that they are calling for or advertising with D&D 1.
Which is neat. Oh my god.
What?
Sami, did you get what game? This is not Law and Order Simulator. Is this House
No,
Flipper?
this is some real HGTV bullshit. This is House Flipper.
Oh my gosh, you're playing House Flipper?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh. Yes, I've been wanting to see this game.
Again, this looks like a game that I would spend entirely too much time in. So you get to flip a house, you get to redecorate an entire house. Oh my god, look at the small rooms. I wonder what detail you could get into.
You would love this game, Doc. You would absolutely love this game. Join me.
Oh
I-
god, no.
I could
can't.
see Doc.
Please.
I could see Doc just wasting hours upon hours in this game.
Well, all
Is
you
this
have to do is
multiplayer
wait
game?
for it to go. No, sadly
no
not.
problem.
But
You're able to get
my basically it goes on sale frequently, so it's normally like $20, and you can. I got it at 10, and there's some DLC that is actually pretty fun. Gives you more options and shit, which of course you want all the options to make everything super pretty. Yeah.
You reminded me that Lawnmower Simulator was free on Epic last week. It might still be free on Epic right now. But I'm gonna go check real quick.
That's such a great fucking game. Like,
Okay,
I don't
no, it
often
was
say
the
that a
week
game is
before.
perfect. I don't often say that a game is perfect. That game was fucking perfect.
Yeah, so Lawnmower Simulator was the week before this. Currently, it's still Kerbal Space Program and Shadow Tactics. Akyo's Choice that are free right now. Coming up will be First Class Trouble. No idea what that is, but it looks neat. And then Gametic. I don't know what that is, but yeah, anyway. Those are the free Epic games available right now. Get them before January 12th. And we'll just get rid of that. And all right. Now for some light, or if anything else for D&D 1 that we want to discuss this week. Good, that was
Not
a
really.
lot.
Not that I know.
That was a lot, and there's more to go in terms of mechanics and whatnot. But yeah, this is a developing story that we'll probably come back to. However, so we're doing catch up for a couple weeks here because we haven't had a podcast. However, we're going to start on January 3rd of this brand new year when a hilarious article crossed my desk about Twitter getting sued by landlord in San Francisco because Elon forgot to pay the rent.
Oops.
So this is just more. Elon Musk still exists, happy 2023, and Twitter is still just imploding. It's slowly just collapsing in on itself. And whoever was responsible for figuring out what properties needed to pay the rent must have gotten fired. Because, yeah, Twitter was sued for not entirely much. It's a payment of $136,260 for its 650 California Street office in San Francisco. This isn't like game breaking for Twitter because of the lawsuit. It's just weird. This is just a weird thing to happen to a company. Then again, look who's in charge of it.
Dumpster of fur.
Yeah, litigation is normally expected in action to occur when a tenant has a lease that does not pay rent required by a valid contract with a landlord. So, yeah, it's mainly just bad publicity. This is kind of embarrassing. So that wasn't a terribly big deal. But the next day, on January 4th, Twitter was hit with a $228.9 million copyright infringement / repeat infringer lawsuit. This is stuff that I pay attention to, and this is owing to a celebrity photo agency called Backgrid, which has been posting DMCAs, or submitting DMCA takedowns to Twitter for, I think, a year, at least a year, for just accounts taking its photos and posting them and using them for, there are examples in this article, using them as backgrounds, using them as headers, and Twitter, I guess before Elon took over the company, Twitter was responding to some of these DMCAs, but there has been sort of a backlog of them, and the same accounts just keep on doing this over and over again, and people aren't getting banned currently. So whoever was in charge of the legal department at Twitter handling DMCAs for repeat infringers may have been fired, so there was just no one to do this. And I thought this was fucking hilarious. For whatever reason. And, okay, so that was, that was, I mean, that's $228 million. That's nothing to sneeze at here. But maybe the company won't get that full amount. I'm sure Twitter will challenge this in whatever way that it can, whatever capacity it has left to challenge it. But that wasn't all. That was January 4th. The next day, on January 5th, this article comes out addressing a Twitter hack that allegedly leaked about 200 million email addresses and account details. And this hack may have taken place as far back as November of 2021, before Elon took ownership. However, this was verified. The leaked data itself was posted December of last year, and the let's see, who is it? The Israeli cybersecurity Mazen from Hudson Rock and the site Have I Been Pwned reviewed all of this and posted about it on December 24th. And Twitter has been silent. So whoever it is in Twitter's legal department that's supposed to respond to these sorts of things in compliance with the FCC's rules of notifying people. I think in less than a week, is it, of a detected data breach, may have been fired. So there was just no one at Twitter to do this. And yeah, this has drawn a lot of attention from European Data Protection Agency in Ireland. Let's see, what's it called? Data Protection Commission in Ireland, where Twitter has its European headquarters. And, of course, the United States FTC, which have been monitoring Musk-owned company for compliance with not only European data protection rules, but also U.S. consent order. So, yeah, Twitter failed to take action on this, essentially. And this is kind of a major hack. So, last week was a rough week for Elon. No doubt.
No, we're saying.
Poor Elon. Does anyone feel sorry for him anymore?
Wait. Oh no, I thought I was feeling something there for a second, but it was just gas.
Thank you. I love that it was just gas. Oh.
Though I will say, in the same vein of leaks, that something from the January 6th committee, the DOJ released somebody released the social security numbers of multiple people involved in the January 6th committee's investigation, and like a bunch of people are pissed off about it, of course, screaming at the
Yeah.
US government, how are you going to protect us now that all of our information is out?
Who the fuck leased social security numbers? That's dumb. They're not dumb necessarily, it's just a dick move.
Find an article here. It was
Twitter is still under investigation in New York, by the way, for what is that called when you have a commercial building but you use it for residential purposes and you don't declare it? Besides fraud?
I was gonna say fraud. Tax evasion, maybe?
That would be how something would actually get done about it. Yeah, if there were different taxes for commercial areas versus for the fucking corporate headquarters versus a hotel. But yeah, I don't know that. Everything keeps on heaping onto Twitter, and I keep on finding it hilarious. I have no sympathy for the company. Burn it to the ground, I say.
So, okay. The House January 6th committee published the social security numbers of several high-level Trump officials and allies online. It was supposed to be redacted. Whoever does the redacting didn't do the redacting correctly and
Oh, for
released
fuck's
a
sake.
bunch of phone numbers. Nearly 2,000 individuals.
Wait, phone numbers, social security numbers.
Social security numbers.
Okay.
The Washington
yeah.
Post reported Friday that the leaked Social Security information was included in a spreadsheet buried within the massive cache of records from the committee's work. Social Security numbers belonging to at least 3 members of Trump's cabinet, a few Republican governors, and several Trump associates reportedly compromised. The data was part of the White House visitor logs published by the committee.
That's just sloppy.
That's hilarious.
Kids today. Although I don't know how many total pages of information were actually released. I mean, I understand that's an awful lot of shit to go over, but
Yeah.
really.
While many Social Security numbers in the logs were redacted, the Post reported that around 1,900 of them were not.
So, just as an aside here, Masami, are you selling items that you point?
Oh yeah, yeah, literally I'm clearing out the entire house because all of this shit is either dirty or infested, and versus actually cleaning it, which it's not good anyways once I clean it. Although you can totally keep it in here if you want to be that way. I like completely redoing places. So I'm literally just selling literally everything I fucking can. And I will then basically start fixing the plaster, putting the walls up, cleaning what's left, that sort of thing. I'm very methodical about this bullshit.
I'm afraid
Not
that if I
you.
started playing this, yeah, I would much like you, I would get lost in it. You get rid of the desk and all the stuff on the desk falls down. Oh, gross. That's a lot of garbage. Anyway, yeah, the saga of Elon and the Twits continues into the new year. Happy 2023 again. And I'm sure that we'll have a lot more of that going on. Because that man, he hasn't even, is he still interviewing? That sort of got dropped off the map. Is he still interviewing CEO candidates? Because he said he was going to step down after he lost the poll. But I'm sure we'll...
As soon as he found someone to take over.
He's going to contact the former head of Twitter and be like, hey, you want it back? Just be like, yeah, but I want to buy all of your shares for $20. Oh, also I want Tesla.
I don't-
fair is fair.
I don't know if Jack Dorsey has the chops. I'm being honest.
If he wanted to pull off a really excellent troll, yeah, I could see that happening. But, yeah. No, he and Elon are probably... I don't know if they're even on speaking terms these days. Who can say? Only they. Last story that we'd like to get into here, and this is for... We haven't even said hi to Leetness. Hi, future Leetness. We hope that you're having an excellent day. And we hope that you're not looking at porn, because Pornhub users in Louisiana now have to submit government ID to access the site.
Yes.
Isn't that awful?
That way they
You
can
just...
be properly tracked.
You submit a driver's license in order to access Pornhub in Louisiana, and this is, of course, a Helen Lovejoy movement. Think of the children! Because, as we all know, children have access to pornography as long as they know a web address, because there's no such thing as parents, and web controls are just not a thing. And they take time and effort to learn how to use. I mean, every router in my house comes with a parental control system that I can just easily set up with a couple clicks, and I can auto-ban a whole list of sites that are just, pre-fabbed for me. They come from the manufacturer, and they get updated too, and it's free. But I'd have to take, 10 minutes of my day to set that up, and that's just not worth it. I'd rather that young children just be able to watch porn, honestly. I'm gonna get Wall Street Journaled.
Are you?
No. Nobody gives a shit.
I mean, I know the Wall Street Journal is subscribed to our podcast. I know they follow us.
Oh shit, they do. God damn it.
Assholes.
They're not on... I don't think they follow us on Twitter, though. And they definitely have no idea that we created a Pornhub account a couple weeks ago.
For Leetness's large meats.
For Leetness's large meats, and then he goes there to check out the thing, and this pops up, and he's like, wait, I have to submit my driver's license? No, that's awful. Jesus. So this is hilarious. And, of course, nobody in Louisiana knows what a VPN is, so they're just going to have to do without Pornhub, unless they scan in their driver's license. It's going to be like OnlyFans, basically. If you want to get registered to submit content on OnlyFans, I discovered recently, again, that you have to go through a facial identification process. They refer you to a third-party website, and the third-party website is like, okay, we're going to take control of your webcam now, and we're going to look at you. We will take pictures of you, and we will compare you to federal government databases. We will determine who you are and if you are over 21, and then we'll read a whole bunch of more analytical data about you. We'll keep that, thank you very much, and you can start uploading your feet pics. And I was like, no, Linus can just build a website. What is it, zeroburn.com? Everybody go to zeroburn.com, register. The membership should be $29.99 a month, and once you get in, you can buy individual zero feet pics for, it's like $15 or something like that. Linus, if that site doesn't exist yet, please get on it immediately.
Please do not coin my name. Please do not.
He already has your website, bro.
No, he does not. I've looked. It is not.
Oh, he hasn't built the site yet? He owns the domain name. He totally owns zeroburn.com.
Zeroburn.com is listed for sale.
He lied. Leetness, how could you? He's listening to this. Everybody can bitch him out.
Unless he spelled it correctly, which is with the zero instead of an O. Which I hope he would do, because Leetness, you've known me for years, and if you spell it wrong, I will cut your balls off. I won't actually cut your balls off.
Yeah, those are precious balls. I love those balls.
Balls.
Yeah, okay, zeroburn.com with a zero. Z-E-R, zero. B-U-R-N.com.
So, Doc, do you
Has
get
been bought.
immense joy? Do you get immense joy from plastering, like making a hole disappear, smooths it out, and it's just so satisfying?
Yes, and I'm watching.
Okay, good. Well, keep watching because we're gonna go plastering.
I love getting plastered.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
It's
me
just does
too.
too.
Wait, I don't
Yeah.
think we're talking about the same kind of plaster here.
It doesn't matter. It's all liquid.
Liquid
Oh,
white
that's
stuff,
nice.
yeah.
Oh, it's kind of, yeah, but it's off-white. All right, yeah, you gotta...
Yeah, there will be painting later.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, of course. Like in real life, you have to plaster over the masonry, and you have to get it nice and smooth, and then you can do your paint job, and it's gonna look so nice.
Is that
Yes.
are those radiator hookups?
Yes, there are radiator. I don't know what part of the country this is designed for, but there's like radiator hook. Nothing I've done believes in central air or heat yet.
That's sad.
This has got to be Midwestern, southern Midwestern.
Yeah, it's got to be southern Midwestern. It's sure as fuck not northern Midwestern.
Alabama.
Don't have, maybe I don't know much, but I know in many of the places that I stayed in Louisiana, they have radiator heating.
Honestly, I was kind of thinking like Virginia or like mid East Coast, like where it can get cold, but it's also warm most of the time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, versus when you get north of somewhere around Nebraska, where it's just like, yeah, why the hell would you have a radiator when you can have a fireplace in every room?
Right.
Or forced water heating. That's also very efficient.
Right.
My aunt actually had, my aunt and uncle had the what is it, the under the floor forced water circulation floor heating.
Yep.
In their old house.
Yep.
So they had that. Oh, it was so nice going to their house in December and then like just hanging out and waking up in the morning and it's like 32 degrees outside, but the floors are a nice toasty 65 degrees.
Yeah, I don't have under the floor forced water. I have along the wall forced water and forced water heating, and it is very nice just in terms of keeping the whole house regulated. But the funny thing is, like wintertime right now, we don't really need it all that much. We've got a stove in the kitchen. We've got a coal burning stove in the kitchen. That heats the whole fucking house. Jesus Christ, think it's hot.
I will say this year has been lukewarm compared to years past. I'm actually kind of worried about what February and March are going to hold, because generally speaking, if it's this temperate right now, we get completely fucked.
Yeah, I know that. I know what you mean. What's it called when a hurricane mashes into a blizzard?
Is it
That's what's good. It's a blizzard.
snow
A blizzicane.
snowmageddon?
That's what I'm expecting sometime in early February.
Oh, by the way, in an update, Damar Hamlin left the hospital today. Good for him.
Who?
Good.
Damar Hamlin, he was the football player that had went into cardiac arrest on the field a week ago.
Shit.
Yeah. Took a hit, looked like a seemingly normal hit, and apparently his heart just stopped. They were able to bring him back on the field through chest compressions and using an AED. And
So he went tacky.
oh
No,
yeah,
So there's a condition that, you hear about it. It's like the death punch or whatever. If you sustain an impact in your chest at a very specific, like, millisecond in your heart's electrical rhythm, it will just stop your heart. And it happens something, it's not an uncommon thing in sports to happen in the, a couple times a year at least at the collegiate level. And it's the first time it's ever happened on an NFL field.
That's yeah. I don't know. I don't know terribly much about that. From first aid training, they teach you that if someone's in cardiac arrest, yeah, that's one thing. If someone's tacky, that's a thing. If someone is going through AFib, that's one thing. But if the heart is just stopped, then CPR is not going to do shit, or a defibrillator is not going to do shit. If the heart stops, you're dead. Contrary to what's on TV and in whatever show, just name a show. It's like, oh my god, he stopped. Get the paddles. No, that's not how that works. But yeah, the football injury. Yeah, I don't know much about it, but it sounds goddamn terrifying.
Yeah, it was all over the news for quite a while. It was a big thing. A lot of posturing and grandstanding, and people taking their chance to say something about it.
and the situation just reinforced how big of a piece of shit Skip Bayless is.
I think that was all blown out of proportion. How long are we got a hand ring over it? Like,
Yeah.
he asked a very legitimate question. What are the actual implications for this moving forward? And, yeah.
Something happened with Vince McMahon. Yeah, didn't Vince McMahon do something? Just speaking of shitheads.
Oh, can I please? That slipped my mind. Yes, he's back. But he's only back.
The guy who treats his employees like farm animals is back.
Yes. He's only back in the sense that he is helping facilitate any type of network or TV rights deal, or facilitating the sale of the company. As it stands right now, there are only two serious investors looking into it. One is a Saudi prince, essentially.
Yeah,
The
who knows
other
which one?
is
they've got 6,000 who can keep
Him
track.
selling the WWE to the Saudis would be the most WWE thing ever.
Oh, it would be.
And then he would
It
just
be.
die. And then he would just die, and it would be hilarious.
The other one that I've heard is the potential buyer is Disney.
Well, that'll be the end of wrestling as we know it.
People are really wanting Tony Khan to buy Disney, or to buy Disney, to
Oh
buy.
my god, could you imagine Marvel
WWE?
superhero wrestlers?
Yes. Yes, I could.
The Rock is actually already being spoken to about a role in a Marvel movie after his amazing performance in Black Adam that was fucking awful, because I got 15 minutes into that movie and hated myself. I wanted that 15 minutes back.
Do you think it might just be that you're growing out of Marvel movies like most adults should? I'm sorry. That was a little. Yeah. I'm
Maybe that was a little harsh.
I
but
know. I'm sorry.
But no, I mean, no, it's okay. It's. I don't think it's that so much that I'm growing out of them. I think I expect more because of the way that Marvel did comic book movies. I expect more, and it was fucking awful. It legitimately was fucking awful. I cringed for 15 minutes straight.
I'm so glad I didn't. Oh, I brought this up with Leetness yesterday. There's a new movie out. It's called Glass Onion. It's not fantastic, but I would recommend that people watch it because it is. It has really brilliant parts to it. But anyway, there's one part in this in Glass Onion that has already been memed. I'm happy to say I was going to meme it. I went on YouTube. I found out that someone had already cut out the backgrounds to the scene and put green screen in so it could be memed up and down the block. Good, it should be. It's basically Daniel Craig standing there dissecting a murder and just capping it all off with just be so depressed. He's just like, it's so dumb. And then one of the characters is like, it's so dumb, it's brilliant. And he comes back, he's like, no! It's just dumb. and that's been one of the comments below the green screen was when I watched Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
It's like
Oh my god, yes.
I'm so happy that I haven't seen the last, I don't know, 10 Marvel movies because I guess that's just I know how it ends. The good guys win. The only exception to that was the first part of Infinity War. And that's because it was the first part. It wasn't actually the end.
No, it wasn't the end game. Ha!
It wasn't the end. Yeah. No! It's just dumb! Yeah.
Though, I will say, even though you kind of knew that was going to... Oh, by the way, spoilers. You kind of knew that the bad guy was going to win in Infinity War. You just knew that the bad guy was going to win.
Because a comic book about it had existed for 40 years? Yeah, that's a safe bet.
Yeah. Shut up, Doc. I'm trying to make a point.
I'm sorry. That's also one of my main gripes with the Lord of the Rings show that's on TV currently. The Lord of the Rings history was written by Tolkien a long time ago. If you want to know how that story ends, you can go read about it. It's real. If you've read the Silmarillion, you know how it ends. If you've read into the lore of Middle-earth at all, you know how it ends. If you've seen Lord of the Rings or you've read the Lord of the Rings books, you know generally how it ends. There's a lot of that going around. I'm just like, yeah, okay, all right, I get it. It's about the journey, but the journey's not all that great. So, next. In other news, go on watch Bullet Train. Bullet Train's a good movie. You know what? I haven't seen that story before. That I can recall. I haven't seen a story like Bullet Train. Granted, I was pretty drunk when I watched it, but it was fun. It was a fun time. It's a comedic movie, doesn't take itself too seriously, has some interesting stuff in there, back and forth. It's just well executed. So, Bullet Train, nice movie.
Is that the one with Brad Pitt with the hair? Okay, yep,
yes,
that's the one I thought.
Yeah, and someone at work today brought this up. Brad Pitt's character in Bullet Train is just like Brad Pitt's character in another movie starring Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock, where they go into the jungle and they have to survive. It was a rom-com. I can't remember the name of the movie, but Brad Pitt makes a brief appearance in there, and his character from that movie is a lot like his character from Bullet Train, so they might exist in the same universe.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Oh, what was the name of that movie? My wife went and saw that movie too. She went and saw it in theaters.
it's like River Cruise or something.
No, that was Jungle Cruise. That was
Jungle Cruise. Yeah, you're right. That was different.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
And Blunt Emily.
Masami,
With
you
all the
just
puns.
painted that wall.
I changed
Fuck
my
that
mind, damn it.
Yeah, you have every right to change your mind. Yeah, you redecorate to your heart's content.
Besides, I can repaint. It wasn't that expensive. I'm sitting on literally almost $400,000. Because I did every single mission known to man and God before actually starting to buy the houses and redo them.
Good for you for being a responsible gamer. Always
I mean, yeah,
do
that and
the side quests.
generated a shit ton of cash, so yeah. Now I can pretty much do whatever the fuck I want, including
Thanks to
emphasis on open concept.
Kevlin, I think we're leveled up somewhere beyond where we would be if we hadn't done all the side quests. So yeah, responsible gaming.
Indeed.
Evelyn does love his side quests.
Got to something to keep him interesting.
Kevlin's taught all of us to love the side quests. All right, so
Let's just say you guys will be very prepared by the time you get to the final bit.
I hope so. I think it would be absolutely hilarious if it was a lightsaber, we should be able to stab somebody once, and they should die. Look at how Qui-Gon Jinn died. Just one little poke, one tiny pokey poke.
Look at how Obi-Wan died.
Yeah, one swipe, one tiny little swipey swipe. This is mesmerizing.
It really is.
We're going to watch this for the post-show. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming along. Thank you everybody in Twitch chat. Yeah, we'll catch you next time. Same spot, same place. Booted penis. Fuck Putin, fuck Winnie the Pooh.
Fuck Putin, fuck Winnie the Pooh.
Fuck 'em all.
Fuck 'em.